you pick up your smartphone, which is the modern day hypodermic needle. And it's a direct infusion, man. Constant hits.
We're babies to this.
Yeah.
This is everyone's first time figuring this out. There was no blueprint to learn this. This is everyone's first time doing this. And we're all just like infants trying to figure it out. And we're not going to stop because it makes us feel good.
First, it came off as being safer. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because the liquid has chemical agents and the nicotine and the flavoring that all gets heated up, goes into your lungs. So you're taking in the nicotine plus the chemical agents. They say it's a safer alternative. What happens is, you're looking at the phone. So it's the blue light decreases your melatonin. So it decreases your melatonin. What's that going to do? It's going to delay your sleep. Chronic alcohol use, even on weekends, people say, oh, I only drink on weekends. If you're having 5 or 10 drinks on weekends, in the long run, it's not going to matter. It's low grade inflammation to your brain. If they're not making money, then they're not producing the drug.
Yeah.
So if they can't make a profit from something that's really good,
there's no use.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spectator MD. I'm Marvin, your host. Today, we're going to talk about health and wellness as seen through the eyes of a couple of Gen Zers. We are going to explore how they feel about health and wellness in today's day and age, and certain aspects of what it was like many years ago. I'm joined by 2 fine young men, 2 podcasters in their own right. Zach from the Journey podcast and Avi from the 1% podcast. Guys, welcome.
Thank you for having us,
Glad
Marvin.
to have you here.
Sir.
Thanks for doing this. Yeah, I think this would be really different.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of having a laid back approach to see what the younger generation feels about their health and wellness in general.
For sure. For sure.
Physically, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Health is something I've been like more, I guess like in tune with and like kind of infatuated with as I've gotten older. I think when you're 16, 17, 18, like you don't care about health. Like you don't care what you eat. You don't care what you put in your body. You really don't even think twice about it. You think you're kind of invincible.
Absolutely.
And then as you get a little, into your late 20s, certain foods or certain things you put into your body start to affect you a little bit differently than they once did. And then you're like, let me kind of dive into this. So I've just over the past couple of years, like learning about Gary Brecka and, the ultimate human and, listening to Rogan and just so many of these other things of like, wow, when I do eat that kind of food, I do feel this way. Or when I maybe take this substance, it does affect me. So yeah, I'm interested, especially like you being a doctor and having 30 years of experience in internal medicine and everything like that. I think this will be awesome. Just pick your brain and hear your side of it.
Yeah. Absolutely, because I'm much older than you guys. I don't want to reveal my age, but but it's more than double. Yeah. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And Avi, how about you, buddy?
Yeah, I was I think conversations like these are some of the things that I'm really drawn to just in my own right. It's a lot of things that I talk about on my podcast. It's a lot of just picking the brain of people that are successful and whatever that might be to another person. I feel like it's very subjective, but I think health and wellness, the older that you get and the more struggles that I've personally gone through and know that other people have gone through, I think it's things that we need to talk about more. And that's just what I try to do on my platform is create vulnerable conversations and creating connection through those conversations. And it's also cool because my parents both turned 71 this year. So I kind of have like a connection with the older generation already, just because from picking their brain and being, them being a lot older when I was growing up and having a different perspective. I'm definitely excited to have this conversation for sure.
Yeah. The thing about Gen Zers, and even millennials, but more so the Gen Zers, is that they really emphasize their mental health
Mhm.
much more so than people of my generation. You guys seek mental health help through online, talking to other people. I mean, you're actively pursuing it. Where in my generation, we just stuffed it all down there, man. And we just didn't want to talk about it. It was just, voodoo to say, oh man, I'm thinking about these thoughts and they're wrong, but I can't tell anybody, because it was like a stigma, you know. Oh man, this guy's not well. He's crazy, right?
Mm.
And that doesn't exist today, which is a great thing, you know. And what that did, I think, is it helped the older generations, like myself, to realize that, hey, man, you really have to talk about this stuff because it's integral to your health, right? It all connects, the mental, emotional, physical. So, I commend you guys for doing that. And it's really your generation that has done it much more so,
Yeah.
through the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think our generation, like mine specifically, being one of those like late 90s babies, we were the like last generation to grow up without the phone and then with the phone. So we grew up with like that tough love that's still going to the park and playing sports and playing manhunt in the neighborhoods and being out late and then we got transitioned into social media and the iPhone and obviously things change, but I think that's why our generation, I think, is going to be so influential for the future of just like of history. I think there's going to be so many people that come out of this like Gen Z that really do change the world in so many different facets, just because we got that blend of both. And we got that tough love from the older generation, which is most of our parents. But then we also grew up with what you said, like with being advocates of mental health and realizing like, yeah, the tough love is good and super important, and that suppressing emotions helps, but it's also okay to talk about it. So, and I think like my generation was one of that first generations to really have both, like where, yeah, there is a lot of positives that come from work ethic and kind of putting dirt on the cut and pushing through. But then there's also a healthy time period to like talk about the things.
Right.
And I think
Right.
I think my generation kind of found that balance. I'm more worried about the generations under me because I think it's gotten too much.
Absolutely.
I think it's gotten too soft now,
Oh,
where
absolutely.
it's like everything is a problem. Everything needs to be talked about. No, I think there needs to be a healthy balance when it's like, all right, let's, just buckle up and this is life, and you got to push through sometimes adversity, persevere.
That's right.
And then there's also time to talk about it. But I
Yep.
think it's getting a little watered down.
You have to know which emotions to disregard.
Yeah.
Right? I'm feeling this right now, but I'm supposed to feel it. Okay? So let's sit down, be uncomfortable, deal with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And move on.
Yeah.
That's tough to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because, like you said, we've babied everyone to feel a certain way. So I think if you speak to someone who's 10 years younger than you guys, it'll be totally different.
Totally different. Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, anything too much is never good. But I think the thing with our generation that we did, I would say exceptionally well, is we looked at the people before us and we saw how they handled their problems, and maybe it wasn't conducive to their health or just growing in general, right? Like I've been watching a lot of podcasts on addiction, and I think what people don't realize or what people maybe don't know about addiction is, just from what I've been hearing from people that are experts in the field or people that have gone through it, is that there's an underlying mental health disease there that if they're going to choose a substance to escape from and trying to get away from those problems, like there's something there that they need to deal with, whether that's been something through childhood, whether that's something that happened in maybe early adulthood. And it usually starts from something that they don't think would be deemed to be dangerous, like alcohol or maybe cigarettes or maybe the vape, or that's usually where it starts from what I've been hearing. And I think we kind of look at that and said, the person in the bar that's drinking until they're drunk, I don't know if that's really a good way to deal with those problems. And maybe that's why sometimes the suicide rates are so high with men, is because there is this stigma of we can't tell our feelings or our emotions to other people, because either number one, it'll be used against us, or number two, when we do open up, we always need to be told to toughen up, right? Like, you're a man, you need to be masculine.
Right. You're less of a man.
Yeah.
Right?
And as somebody who grew up with very bad anger issues, that now shows up in different areas of my life. And I try to figure out, how can I release that anger in a healthy and positive way? And how can I open up to the people that I care about, and people that care about me, and not have those words or those experiences used against me. And I think that's one of the toughest things that men probably struggle with today, is finding out who can they trust to tell, and how can they use these positive outlets to let go of all this masculinity.
Absolutely. That goes for me.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Absolutely. And you guys are much better at it, but so let's, what's on your mind, so to speak?
I want to ask you about talking about our generation with dopamine, and then how that's affected the generation with the phones, and even like adults now, even people in your generation that are addicted to the phone and the screen time, and where we get these hits of dopamine from. And I just feel like back in the day, we'll talk early on, dopamine, I mean, it came from going and hunting and killing an animal and bringing it back to your family, so your family can eat. That was a rush of dopamine, that adrenaline rush. Or maybe you saw a girl at the bar in your hometown, and it's you couldn't go find her on Instagram, you had to go up to her and ask her out on a date, and maybe write her address down to go pick her up in your cab, or something like that. That's where dopamine came from, and that's why those moments were so fulfilling. Now it's you said it on the last podcast, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit. I can get it anywhere. I can go get it at any moment of any time, but it's ruining our baseline for what is supposed to make us feel good.
Because back, call it 50 years ago, right? Dopamine was in real time, right? Real time. We won a football game. It was a dopamine rush, right? We did great on an exam. That was a dopamine hit. We had these social connections, these face-to-face conversations, which gave you dopamine, right? Mm-hmm. They were fewer, further apart, not as powerful, right? Not as powerful. I'll give you an example. Even media, entertainment. So when I was a kid, there was 5 channels, 5, right? So my dopamine hit was waiting at 1 p.m. on a Sunday to watch Abbott and Costello, okay? I think it was 11:30 actually. But to me, waiting in anticipation of watching that, my dopamine level would rise, and I would get my dopamine. And now my dopamine was capped. That was it. Next scheduled TV show a week later. That was it, man. So all this stuff now, you pick up your smartphone, which is the modern day hypodermic needle, okay? And it's a direct infusion, man. Constant hits. Like I said, I talked about this on my prior podcast, but you can't talk about it enough, because it's just, it overwhelms the brain's reward system. It's like heroin or alcohol, okay? It just doesn't give you a small dopamine surge, which 50 years ago, that's what you got. You got small surges, okay? You delayed gratification, right? This is instant gratification, instant gratification, instant gratification, right? Keep it going, keep the cycle. Which, what does it do? It desensitizes the dopamine receptors. So now, regular life, face-to-face convos, and achievements seem dull and boring because you've got the phone where you're getting these massive dopamine surges, and you can't replicate that without drugs or alcohol or, and again, social media, man. They've engineered addiction, right? It's engineered to perfection. TikTok, Instagram, X, they've done it perfectly, man. And they know it, right? You just can't get away from it. I find myself doing it.
Yeah.
And I find myself having to say, put the phone down. You've got other things to do.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's some good stuff on there.
For sure.
Absolutely. But you have to be strong enough emotionally, mentally, to filter out what you need, right? Or else it's just poof, you'll blow up.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a guy talk about how he was like social media, the iPhone is like he goes, we're babies given like candy, unlimited amount of candy, and then you leave them in the room by yourself.
Right. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
You're gonna eat all the candy.
Everything.
Yeah. And then he said, and then when you run out, you can ask for more, and then they'll bring you more. That's us with the phone. This is our first, we're babies to this.
Yeah.
This is everyone's first time figuring this out. There was no blueprint to learn this. It's not like, football, football was played in the 40s and the 50s and 60s, and it evolved and people got to see, and sports or writing books or making music, right? So there was a blueprint before where this is everyone's first time doing this, and we're all just like infants trying to figure it out. And we're not going to stop because it makes us feel good. And it's crazy because that how that dopamine gets desensitized. That's why people like dive into other things that bring it back to that feeling, but they're usually not good for you, like alcohol and drugs and even like the vape, like the quick hits of nicotine and stuff like that. That's why I want to like kind of like get into that of just like, what are your thoughts on nicotine coming from like the vape or say with the pouches like Zen versus cigarettes from the prior generations?
So obviously, call it 50 years ago, right? 30 years ago, not 50, 30. Pretty much mainly cigarettes. That's how you got your nicotine. Heated up tobacco, boom. Smoked it into your lungs. Everyone knew it was harmful. Lung cancer, heart disease. More accepted though.
Yeah.
Okay. It was kind of the people, there was smoking sections in restaurants, even on planes. There was a smoking. Okay. And it was accepted socially. Right. I think back then maybe 1 in 4 adults smoked cigarettes.
Wow.
Okay. Today, you've got half of adults smoking cigarettes. But the people who are vaping and using pouches and other forms of nicotine replacement therapy has exploded, mostly in the Gen Zs, right? First, it came off as being safer. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because the liquid has chemical agents and the nicotine and the flavoring that all gets heated up, goes into your lungs, right? And you're taking in the nicotine plus the chemical agents. They say it's a safer alternative. Again, who am I to judge? But It's not safe.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask it. Nicotine and tobacco is like grown, right? Like it's not something that it's not an additive substance that you don't know what else is in the
Right.
liquid.
Right. Oh, right.
So
In the cigarette.
Yeah, so you would think that since it's grown, it's more holistic, or it's obviously still not good for you regardless, but it's a healthier alternative than the liquid because of the chemicals and toxins.
I think they're both harmful,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. But I think vaping could potentially be far worse. Okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Basically, the studies are coming out now. So we'll know 10 years from now or 20 years from now. It's just like cigarettes.
Yeah.
Back in the 20s and 30s, they didn't know much. Then it wasn't until later in the 60s, 70s, with 80s, and obviously back they said, oh, it's harmful, it causes lung cancer, it causes heart disease, et cetera, et cetera. So as far as that goes, they say the pouches are better because it only delivers nicotine. Well, again, probably I would say if you're going to either vape or do a pouch, do the pouch.
Or pouch versus like long cut tobacco, like dip.
Yes.
That's probably better.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you're getting gum irritation, right? That could lead to cancer.
Mouth cancer. Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of things that can happen.
All right. So my dad smoked for like 20 years. He stopped. He's still addicted to nicotine, so he smokes the Juuls. So now he, went and got his lungs checked. His lungs were like black before from the cigarettes of all the tar. They said that they can't even tell that he ever smoked now. Now, I'm not saying that, no, he doesn't say that to be like, oh, this is healthy. But when they say it's a healthy alternative, when he gets x-rays on his lungs now, they say his lungs look clear. When before, when he was smoking cigarettes, his lungs were black.
So you can't see black lungs on x-ray.
Well, can you MRI? Is it MRI? Where can they see the buildup or like the tar or something?
Well, here's the thing. You can't see the lungs unless you open them up and see that pink lungs should be pink.
Right.
And smokers' lungs are pretty much speckled in black.
Right.
On a CAT scan, or an MRI, you could tell how the structure of the lung is.
Okay, so yeah, maybe it was something in that realm.
And then doing pulmonary function tests, you could tell lung function, how it was before,
right,
and how it is
like wheezing.
After. Yeah, and how the function of the lung is, your vital capacity, etc. While you were smoking and when you were vaping.
Yeah, now vaping.
Right. But vaping irritates the lung linings.
Yeah, it's like popcorn lung, right?
Right.
They give you popcorn
lung is, the medical term is bronchiolitis obliterans, right? What that is that the smallest areas of the lungs are scarred and there's air trapping in there.
So it creates like a popcorn look.
Right, on x-ray.
Right.
And that is pretty much irreversible.
Yeah.
When you get to that point.
Yeah. And they also say how, like, why vaping, right? So say just substance for substance, smoking a cigarette versus smoking a vape. Say the cigarette is more harmful. Let's just use that as an example. But I've heard a lot of people say why the vape will be more harmful in the long run, even if the substance of what's actually going in isn't as bad. It's because of the accessibility of it. We could have vapes in here right now. We're not going to, the couches aren't going to smell like cigarettes. Our clothes aren't going to smell like cigarettes. It's so easy and seamless to just pull out your pot. You don't need a lighter. You don't need nothing. You could just pull it out, take a quick hit, blow it in your hoodie, and no one knows. And you get the nicotine hit. So it's so accessible that you're going to use it so much more than you would use cigarettes. How many times are you going to go out for a smoke break? You know, when you're working, you know, you got stuff. You can just, I could sit at my desk all day and nobody would even know. I could smoke equivalent to probably 3 packs of cigarettes in a day, when if I had to smoke cigarettes, I wouldn't even have time to smoke a pack if I was working. That's why they say it's more dangerous, because of how freely you can smoke them.
You can do it 24/7,
All
that's a
day.
good point.
all
Good
day.
point.
Right?
All day.
Where you need a cigarette break, excuse me, have to go outside, have to smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. So think about how much nicotine and chemicals are going into your body and ruining that.
It's scary.
You know, it ruins your elasticity of your lung. It decreases your oxygen exchange, lower oxygen levels. I mean, lowers your immune function. What doesn't it do?
Yeah.
But you guys, the Gen Zers, are still doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys vape.
No.
I'll do it occasionally, like when I drink. If I drink alcohol, I use the pouches. I do use the pouches.
Better?
Yeah, better, but not
But again,
good.
you know, as a doctor here,
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
hard.
condone.
Of course.
Okay, great. You use the pouches and you'll be just fine.
yeah.
You know, I can't. You know,
Yeah, no, it definitely definitely worries me though. Worries me.
Yeah, because the accessibility of it, like you said, I never even thought about that. Like how much you can go through within a day of just smoking.
because they gear it that way,
Yeah.
just like the phone.
Yeah.
So they want to make everything so accessible and addictive that you can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then it affects like other areas of your life, like every other possible area that just not even like obviously within your health, but like, I mean, I struggle with sleep, and I can see how my phone, you know, sometimes stops me from going to sleep.
You know, what
Actually.
happens is, you know, you're looking at the phone, so it's the blue light that decreases your melatonin,
Yeah.
right? So it decreases your melatonin. What's that going to do? It's going to delay your sleep. It delays your sleep. So what do you do when the sleep's delayed? You continue scrolling.
Yeah.
So the blue light is continuously delaying your sleep. And then when you go, so you have decreased REM, decreased slow wave. Your sleep isn't good. You're sleep deprived. What happens to your brain? I mean, there's first of all, there's low grade inflammation there. Then irritability the next day. Cognitive decline. You can't focus that well.
Anxiousness.
Right?
Yeah.
You're anxious. You'll even get depressed, right? Because it ruins your hormone balance. Your increased cortisol levels. You can't, you know, cortisol is good, and you need cortisol, but not late at night, especially when you're sleeping or trying to get to sleep. You need your sleep. You need the rest, and that's what it does.
And I know the blue light glasses are very much in right now, where they're trying to. I mean, sometimes the inevitability is that people will use their phones late at night, or they're up working late at night. Like sometimes there's a podcast that I'm editing, and I mean, my phone is on black and white, so I try to decrease that blue light. But do you find that the blue light glasses that are very much now in trend, do you find that is something that can help the risk of, you know, blue light
Yes,
exposure?
yes, and no. Yes, meaning that yes, filtering out the blue light is good, but what happens when you're looking at your phone? Now, depending what you're doing, right? Okay, your melatonin isn't being suppressed to that degree, but you're getting your dopamine hits. And the dopamine hit increases your arousal and your excitement. So it's still harder to get back to sleep.
Yeah.
So the blue light helps, right? What's the best thing you could do? The best thing you could do is a couple hours before bedtime, that thing,
Put it in a different room.
Put it in a different room and just look at it if you absolutely have to, for let's say for work. Okay. You read a book.
Yeah.
You know, do some meditation. You know, do other things. You've got to be able to say, okay, I'm not going to look at the phone and I'm going to do other things to get to sleep, because you'll never sleep while you're scrolling.
Yeah.
Never.
I find myself, I was talking to Zach about this like a week and a half ago. I find myself being more, I don't know if it's like chronically tired, but I find myself even though when I can get 6 to 7 hours of sleep, I don't know if it's because my sleep quality. I mean, I have a watch that supposedly tracks how much REM or deep sleep I'm getting. But what would you say to somebody for like me that I've always had trouble with sleeping, like even since I was a kid, like before the phones even were there, I was always hard to get to sleep, and it was always a trouble to stay asleep. Like, what would you say for me? Like, do you think there's somebody do you think I might have like a vitamin deficiency in some way? Like, do you think I'm deficient in some areas? What do you say to those people that even though no matter how much hours of sleep they get or the quality of sleep, they still wake up tired?
Right. So it depends. Are you always tired?
Yeah.
Every day?
I mean, most of the time, yeah. Like last night, I probably got maybe 7 hours of sleep. Some days it's like more. Like on Sundays, I don't put my alarm. I let my body just rest. So sometimes I'll go to bed maybe like, it could be the time I'm going to bed too. So sometimes maybe I'll go to bed at like 1 and maybe I'll wake up at like 11 because I'm just like, all right, my body's resting. My body will wake me up. I don't want to have no alarm. And Sunday, so I usually don't really do anything on Sundays.
But you said for years you've been having
Yeah,
this
but I
kind of
mean,
sleep.
years prior, I feel like I was more awake, I guess, or maybe I just wasn't self-aware enough about it to see if I was always chronically,
Right.
quotes, tired.
So being tired, right, is because something happened. I exerted myself physically or mentally. I had a stressful event, so I stayed up late at night, and today I'm wiped out. I'm sleepy, my muscles ache, I'm fatigued, but that's going to resolve. That'll resolve in a day, right, or two at the max. Is you get enough sleep, nutrition. That's totally reversible. So if it doesn't reverse, it's like chronic fatigue, right? It's chronic.
Mm.
So could be autoimmune disease. It could be depression. It could be constant stressors. It could be fibromyalgia. Um, so it's more of a metabolic thing where it could affect multiple areas: neurologic, immunologic, certain things that there's no clear purpose, there's no clear thing that you can point to. So, I mean, I would say obviously lifestyle, right? Eating habits, what time you go to sleep, caffeine, how much caffeine do you consume, when do you consume it, the phone, uh, what's on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many factors that it deserves a workup.
Yeah.
Blood tests, you know, physical. Now, in your case, I don't know. It could be just a result of, you know, your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because if this has been happening for years, you're still a healthy guy. I'm sure you've gotten physicals in the last year or two.
No, maybe not. I haven't really gotten a physical in the
Well,
past
maybe you
couple years.
should.
Yeah.
Well, maybe,
Maybe that would be step one.
you know, step one, go to a doctor, get a full physical. He'll do a panel of blood tests. Tell him your habits: smoke, vape, alcohol, anything else, mental issues, if you're having some type of, issue with someone or something that is unresolved, all these things play a factor. I find myself waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning a lot of times when I've got stuff going and stuff rolling around in my head, because it sets off an alarm, right? So, but tiredness, totally different from prolonged fatigue.
Yeah.
Definitely, tiredness goes away, and it's a direct result of something: exercise, mental activity. There's a decrease in glycogen storage in the muscles and a decrease in glucose availability in the brain. That's what's giving you sleepiness and tiredness, and it resolves. Chronic stuff could take months, or even post-viral Epstein-Barr virus. Okay, Epstein-Barr virus will give you chronic fatigue syndrome, give you a low-grade inflammation in the body. Okay, and that's why they say, I'm constantly tired. It's been months, and it takes a while to resolve.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to work through it with lifestyle changes, sometimes even medication, depending. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask you about alcohol. Do you see a difference in, I guess, the consumption of alcohol between, say, Gen Z and then maybe your generation when you were in your 20s?
Yeah, good question. So, Gen Zers definitely drink less than my generation, and even call it the millennials. I'm past that. I'm a baby boomer. And I think it's because of the fact that they're much more educated on what alcohol does. And they're aware of the effects.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely less. I think there was a study done, and they asked a bunch of Gen Zers how much alcohol they drink compared to the older generation, 25 years older.
Mm.
And I think it was at least 35% of Gen Zers never even tried alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked at that study, where if you looked at someone who was 55, 60 years old, it was in the single digits.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gen Zers definitely, in that aspect, take their health care and their health more seriously. And they realize the effects of alcohol, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And we talk about moderate drinking. Moderate drinking, they have as a woman drinking 1 drink a day. So a drink is 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounces of a spirit, considered 1 drink. They say moderate drinking is 1 drink a day for women and 2 drinks a day for men. I don't consider that moderate. I consider that more than moderate. Just because we know how toxic alcohol is. Yeah.
What does alcohol do to the brain?
What doesn't it do, right?
Like what are the lasting effects of someone who consistently drank for 20 years? What does it do to their brain over time?
Yeah. So first thing is, so when you drink alcohol, what it does is it increases GABA, which is a calming hormone, and decreases glutamate, which is an excitatory. So you're going to get a relaxation with decrease in coordination. So what's that going to do is it's going to, first of all, impair your memory. Your hippocampus, which is responsible for memory, long-term, short-term, it decreases. So you're going to have memory issues. Chronic alcohol use, even on weekends, people say, oh, I only drink on weekends. If you're having 5 or 10 drinks on weekends, okay, that's alcohol use disorder. You're going to be affected just as much. People think that I'm taking 5 days off and I'm only drinking on weekends. In the long run, it's not going to matter. It's low-grade inflammation to your brain. Your hippocampus is affected. Your prefrontal cortex is affected, which is your executive function, your judgment, your planning, decision-making. All that's affected. All of it. So, plus acutely, you're going to have irritability after you drink. You're going to have decrease in sleep, decrease in REM sleep. So it affects your brain through those mechanisms. It affects your sleep. And in 20 years, you'll have a decrease in cognitive function. Your memory recall won't be the way it should be. Your decision making isn't going to be proper. Your judgment, all that stuff. And even from weekend drinking.
Now, what would you consider an alcoholic? Is an alcoholic someone who drinks every single day, or is an alcoholic someone who, when they start drinking, they can't stop? Or are they both alcoholics?
And to add to that, what would you consider like moderate drinking?
What would I consider moderate drinking?
Yeah. But I want you to answer his questions first, but I kind of was curious about that too.
Alcoholic. So this is kind of a sticky question. If you ask different people, they'll come up with different answers. If you consider alcoholism an addiction, and if you consider an addiction as a use of a substance or a behavior that's repetitive and compulsive, and despite harm to yourself or others, cannot be stopped, you're an addict. So the person who drinks every day, depending on how much they drink, why they're drinking, can they stop, would kind of warrant whether they're an alcoholic or addicted. Does it harm him or others, whether it be socially, in the workplace, their own physical health and well-being, or someone else's health and well-being? So the question depends on the individual.
Right.
And what makes up an alcoholic? I think, it's a person that really can't stop drinking, regardless of harming himself or others. That's truly the definition of an alcoholic who's addicted to alcohol.
Right. So would you consider alcoholism to be, say, someone who drinks a couple times a month, but when they drink, they don't want to stop? But on the days they don't drink, they never crave a drink. Like, I'm never like You know, like they'll say the person could be like, I'm not like dying for this drink to keep me alive, because that's some alcohol, like alcoholics, like they're functioning alcoholics. They need it to get through their day. What about the person that doesn't need alcohol to get through their day? They never crave it. They never are like, but it's like once they start, there's no stopping. Would you consider that alcoholism?
So now you're talking about alcohol use disorder.
Okay. So those are two different things.
Yeah, meaning that you drink twice a month, and when you drink, you binge drink.
Right.
Okay, which again is not good.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and what you consider binge drinking is for men 5 drinks in one sitting, and women 4 drinks in a sitting.
Wow.
So you would consider that alcohol use disorder because that person doesn't need it. He wants it for a certain reason. But it can turn into alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do it twice a month, then you'll go to 4 times a month, then you go to 6 times a month, and then you go to every day.
Right. Keep chasing.
Right? You keep chasing, because don't forget tolerance. Tolerance develops at the slightest, even on weekends. If someone's drinking 5 to 10 drinks on a weekend and he continues, a year later, he's going to need more to catch that buzz.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, you're desensitizing the dopamine receptors.
Mm-hmm.
So you need more.
Yep.
It's like anything else. It's like the phone. It boils down to dopamine. Listen, I'm not saying dopamine is it. It's the end all. But it's a critical part of this scenario.
Yeah. And lastly on this, I saw Andrew Huberman talk about this, and this was interesting. I believe, I could be getting the number wrong, but I think he said it was like 8% of people who drink alcohol, alcohol has this like effect that almost makes them better, in a sense of like what it does to their brain. It makes them happier. It makes them more outgoing. It makes them more confident. Like it really like brings out like a different side of them that they don't have without alcohol. When majority of people, when they get alcohol, they get stupid, they get sloppy, they get angry, you know, alcohol. But he said there's a very small percentage of people where it's just the wiring in their brain, I guess the brain chemistry that's built up, where when alcohol gets in there, it almost makes them better. And he says that's why it's so hard for those people to stop drinking, because they're like, I'm not like doing stupid things. Like I feel more alive when I'm like this because of what it does to my brain. And what it does to the next person's brain is they, you know, get into a bar fight every time because they get so angry. What do you know? Are you knowledgeable like on that topic of just how alcohol affects certain people differently and almost makes like a very small percentage of people like.
So it obviously has to do with the hormones, right?
Yeah.
Dopamine, serotonin. And I believe it's the response, and it's different for each individual, and what they drink, how much they drink.
Right.
Because there's a tipping point. But it's the response. The chemical mechanism is the same. It's just how it balances out in your body and how you react to it, and your personality type and what comes out. Is it after 1 drink you feel this way? What happens after 2 drinks? What happens after 3 drinks?
Right.
What happens after 5 drinks? Are you still happy and talkative and the life of the party? Are you a miserable drunk now?
Right.
Angry and cursing. So it all depends on volume. It depends on your situation. It depends on your body weight. It depends on what you ate.
Right.
It depends. Are you taking medication?
Right. There's so many variables.
There's a lot of variables. Yeah.
Now, I mean, we talked about vaping, we talked about alcohol. Now, I'm curious to know what your perspective is on people are now open about like use of marijuana, medical use of marijuana, and to some even like medical use of psychedelics. And I know Rogan talks about it a lot. I know it's becoming more of like a talking point now in today's society. What are your how has your view changed on these things, and what do you believe that the findings that are now coming out about them, how do you feel like they could impact positively or negatively for the future?
So on marijuana, obviously 30 years ago, for instance, there was no medical use for marijuana. It was a Schedule 1. No reason to give marijuana in any way, shape, or form. Today, there's medical uses for it. Epilepsy, with seizures, pain management, palliative care, chemo-related nausea. There's uses, and it's accepted. 30 years ago, you'd probably find maybe 20% of physicians who felt that it was okay. Now you'll find over 75% that feel that, hey, there are uses for marijuana. Okay? I think I'm the guy who's been 35 years of medicine, so I've seen the change. And I believe that there are uses. Nausea from chemo-related treatment, even for multiple sclerosis, for spasticity, palliative care, pain management. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I think it's much more accepted now than it was. You know, it's kind of, I'm cautiously optimistic, let's say. I don't believe that it solves everyone's problem,
Right.
but it's definitely something that can be used. For psychedelics, from the research, you know, I'm not a psychiatrist, but from the research, there is some data that it helps with things like trauma. Okay. I don't believe it helps with addiction, any type of addiction. I think you're going down a rabbit hole there. I think intense therapy is the way to go as far as addiction is concerned. Once you start introducing drugs that you can get addicted to into the addict who's got a problem with addiction, I believe it's just a recipe for disaster. But I think it has its place in lifelong trauma, childhood trauma, maybe with deep depression or certain disorders where it's being used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had interviewed someone, and he got addicted to Percocets. He broke his hand, got hand surgery. Supposedly the doctor gave him like a 60-day supply when it only should have been a 30-day supply. And after the 60 days,
Shouldn't even been 30 days. Sorry to interrupt. But the way I used to prescribe it is that if you had acute pain, you got 5 days max. If your pain was still present after 5 days of narcotics, then you needed to see a specialist.
yeah,
Because
so,
the acute pain, almost in every circumstance, subsides tremendously after 72 hours. Not to say that you don't need medication,
right.
but you can certainly go from Percocet to a nonsteroidal, Motrin or Aleve, or, and again, depending. Sometimes you'll need more.
Right.
But for me, I gave 5 days. You need more than 5 days, you have to see a specialist. I can't handle that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that he talked about how he was kind of like f those doctors because they screwed me over, because
Yeah.
he got off of them and he was like, I went through insane withdrawals, and he ended up like getting his hands on another one, and it like made him feel good again. And so he got hooked to it for a while, from like 18 to like 22. He was really battling with it. But then he went to South America. He's heard Joe Rogan talk about I think ibogaine, which is a psychedelic, and it's like a whole ritual and like ceremony and all this thing, and you go on a trip. But he said that that was what really helped him get sober, because he went on an 18-hour trip and he lived his life from 22 years old to 64 years old as an addict. And he had a family and he had kids, and he saw everything like very visually, and his kids got taken from him, and his wife left him, and he was in and out of rehab, and he was like he snapped out of that trip and was like, I need to get my life together.
When he was 22?
Yeah.
And
So
how old is he now?
24, 25. He's been sober.
So he saw his life.
Yeah, in the trip. So it was
In
an
the trip.
18-hour trip on
Okay.
this psychedelic that basically went over a 40-year span in his head in 18
That's
hours.
interesting. Yeah.
And he got out of it and was like, I need to go to rehab. And he got sober after that. But he said he heard it on Joe Rogan. He went and did it. And then he said it wasn't this magic. He stopped it, but he had to go into AA and the 12-step recovery program, and he did all of that. But that's what led him there to realize, like, I don't want to live my life as an addict anymore.
So what happened to him, I believe, is that he had this experience. Now, there's two roads to this. One road is, I don't want to live like this. I'm going to go to AA. I'm going to get therapy. I'm going to go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and I'm going to be really intense with this. The other road is, wow, man, what a trip. Yeah, I got to think about that. And then maybe a week or two later, I think I'm going to take another trip.
Right. See what happens
So
on
why
this
are you
one.
taking the second trip if you got what you wanted from the first trip?
Right.
You got what you wanted. You saw everything. You realized everything. The next step is intense therapy, like what your friend did.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say people will go one way and people will go another. In your friend's case, it was a good thing. I'm not sure that's the case most of the time.
Right.
Again, and I'm talking about addiction.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to ask that because you said that, I think, which is very interesting, that you give a 5-day supply.
Yeah.
How much do you believe that pharma or the doctors are feeding into that addiction?
Oh, it used to be huge. It used to be huge. I remember the days. When they used to come into my office, a new patient, and he would say, Doc, I've had leg surgery and it's constant pain. When did you have surgery? Oh, it was 3 years ago. And your pain's still that bad? Yeah, and I get Percocets. Okay. And you would look him up, and he's been on Percocets for years, going from one doctor to another. And these doctors would give him 60 pills, 90 pills with the refill. I said, you've come to the wrong place.
Yeah, and at that point, how much of it is, I don't want to say like, yes, he has a conscious choice to choose to not to do that, but how much of it is on him now? If they're constantly refilling this, knowing that he's coming back, and knowing that, from what you said, the 72 hours
Yeah.
could be potential, there's no pain anymore after 5 to 7 days. There's no pain anymore. Obviously, surgery is a longer process, so it probably takes longer to heal. So you might need the pain.
Maybe you needed 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
But then, would you say that that's also on the doctor or on the pharma business that's
Yes.
keeps refilling that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm an advocate of that.
Yeah.
I never did that. No way. And when the guy came back, if I gave him 5 days supply, I said, I can't refill it anymore.
Yeah.
And what happened is the pendulum swung to where everything was scrutinized. Every prescription you wrote. So now Zach comes in or Avi comes in, just injured their hand, and they really need pain medication. I wouldn't give it to them. I would say, because every script was scrutinized. And now the light went up. Who wrote prescriptions?
Right.
So even writing 10 pills will get you questioned.
Right. Come back.
So now, so instead of giving the guy, now Zach just mashed his hand, he needs 5 days worth of, you would say, you know what, tough it out with Motrin and see the pain specialist.
Mm.
Or you know what, I'll give you a day's worth. Here's 3 pills. That's what it turned into. So now we've kind of gone back a little bit. But again, you know,
Yeah.
and I think it's a good thing, because really most people don't need more than 2-3 days of narcotics. Most.
Yeah.
Most.
Now, they kind of like, I just watched Dallas Buyers Club for the first time. Seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
Really?
No.
Yeah, I haven't either. I haven't.
You
I've
guys,
heard about it.
you would like it with
Yeah.
McConaughey?
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I've never seen it.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. So, but it's kind of that realm, how like the big pharma it was for money. You know, he had HIV, and
Right.
he needed this special medicine that wasn't FDA approved in America, but it was in Japan, it was in Mexico, it was in all these different parts of the world, but it was actually kind of curing. Like they told him he had 6 weeks to live, and he was like, I'm going to figure this out. So he went and created this whole vitamin and holistic approach. It's a true story.
Yeah.
To cure HIV. He lived another 9 years, but the FDA was always trying to shut him down because they were giving patients this medicine. I forgot what it was called, but it was basically killing everyone with HIV, but it was bringing more money to the hospitals. And it was just this thing that he was fighting, and you know, and he obviously left his legacy in that, because after that, the hospitals turned. He said he believed in what they were doing, but the dosage was too high that they were giving them, and it killed one of his friends that had HIV. That he was running this like buyers club. That's what they called them. You know, he had all these people come in, and they would. He was like, because legally he couldn't sell it, so he would sell memberships. So they would be a membership to his buyers club. And then in return for $400 a month, you would get vitamins and the meds and stuff
The
like
meds,
that.
right.
But it was just interesting because he was actually helping people. Big Pharma was killing people. And then they tried to take him down because he was hurting their pockets. And it's just like, it's like, are we human or are we a business, you know? And it's like, are we trying to help people? Or
Farmers in business.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's sad.
Listen, I'll
It's
say it.
straight.
I'm not saying that some of the medication, a lot of the medication doesn't do good, but if they're not making money, then they're not producing the drug.
Yeah.
So if they can't make a profit from something that's really good,
There's no use.
right?
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about what are your thoughts on Adderall?
To treat what?
Well, Adderall is big in my generation, in Gen Z. It's huge. Where I think everyone has a little bit of ADHD, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think everyone
I
has
think so.
a little bit. We're all kind of distracted at some point, whatever. It's hard to focus for extended amounts of time, sure. And I know that's what Adderall is used for. Like a lot of kids I had growing up, you know, they couldn't focus on tests or in class, so they would have, you know, prescription Adderall. Now, I mean, Adderall is almost used as like a party drug to stay up all night. It's used for, you know, someone that lacks that focus and they're slammed, whether it's studying for school, for exams, or say someone like me that has to edit a lot, and I got to get 5-6 podcasts done in one day, and then you take an Adderall, can Adderall be harmful, or is it like this limitless kind of drug that just makes you focus and get a lot of stuff done?
So for the normal person who's not diagnosed with ADHD and functions normally, and you take Adderall, yes, you'll experience this hyperfocus and being able to get things done. But obviously it's because of the hormone response, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the hormones that are being secreted. In the long run, it will harm you because it will desensitize areas that shouldn't be desensitized. And you'll not only not benefit from it, but obviously you will physically and mentally become ill.
Yeah.
And again, multiple different ways.
Yeah, I actually had an experience. I was diagnosed with ADHD and ADD at the age of 12, and I took Adderall, and it made me feel like a zombie. Like I literally couldn't eat. I wasn't socializing, but I was so hyper focused on my work, and they used that because I would be a disruption in class, or I would move around a lot, or I would just not be good in school. I wasn't able to sit there for a long period of time and just listen to a teacher. So I kind of had that like weird experience too. And I guess like hearing that it's like a party drug. Like I wouldn't be able to party or do nothing other than like working and stuff like that when I would be on it.
So you're not on it now?
No, I'm not on it.
How long were you on it?
I was on it through elementary to maybe middle school, maybe a little bit of high school.
And why did you stop?
Because I felt like a zombie. I didn't feel like
That's
myself.
it. So
I didn't feel like
you just
myself.
said I'm not taking it anymore.
Yeah, no. And I feel like also too, why would I be taking something like that at such a young age? Because like that's affecting my brain development, I think.
Yeah.
At least like in ways that I might not be able to see. And I guess looking back at it now, it's like if I'm going to be prescribed something at that age, I would have to be like severely, I don't think I'm severe, but I definitely think there's points where I can't really focus or like things like that. But I don't think that I should be taking that at that.
And you were formally diagnosed with ADHD?
Yeah, from a psychiatrist.
From a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Because, a lot goes into that.
Yeah.
Right? First of all, why is it happening? Why are you not focused? Why are you disruptive? Okay. Is it because of lifestyle at home? Is it because of other things in your life that's causing this? Okay. Or is it because you truly have ADHD?
Diet too.
Yeah.
I've heard is big when like the kids,
like red 40, yellow 5.
Red 40, all in the candies, the Skittles, the M&Ms, the Gatorades, the Pedialytes. Yeah.
So before, if I was the doctor, before I prescribed it, I would make sure that every aspect of your lifestyle was okay. And if it wasn't, could that be the cause of your disruptiveness, of your decrease in focus, decrease in attention span? It's way overprescribed and was way overprescribed. It was just, okay, you have ADHD, take Adderall.
Mm-hmm.
It was, there you go. There wasn't enough intensive consultation with the patient and family.
Yeah.
Because when you're that young, it's the whole family. You don't just sit down with the adolescent. You sit down with the mother and the father. You sit down separately and all together. You get your story, you get your mom's, you get your dad's, or you get whoever else you're living with. And then you put that all together. That's my belief.
Yeah, ironically, that's actually what happened. Like it was the whole family. Like my brother is severely diagnosed with ADHD and ADD. My dad, my psychologist believed that he was on the spectrum of autism, and I think my mom has.
Your dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom has like I feel like she has ADHD and ADD. Like I feel like it's just I don't know. It might just be a genetic. It might just be genetic at that point where.
Well, autism is highly heritable.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say 90%. Okay. That's another topic entirely.
Yeah.
Of course,
Okay.
yeah. I know
That's
you want to
another
save
topic
that. I know you want to save that.
Yeah,
so,
that's another topic entirely. But yeah, there's a lot to do with genetic predisposition.
Yeah.
And last question on this, how much do you feel like I live in Brooklyn and I live in a neighborhood where it's, you know, experiencing a lot of poverty and a lot of, they might not have the financial means to be able to afford, you know, maybe a healthy lifestyle, whether the food that they're taking or what they're putting into their body. What do you say to those communities that can't afford the food or the lifestyle that could be able to help or be a healthier alternative than what's currently available for them?
So I think for the most part, they can have a diet that is fairly healthy. The poor community reach for processed foods all the time. I mean, it's noted that most people, 60, 70% of the diet is from processed foods. I always say eat foods with a single ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very simple. What does that mean? Is an apple a single ingredient? Yeah. Is a banana a single ingredient? Yeah. Is a piece of meat a single ingredient? Yeah. Is chicken a single ingredient? Yeah. Is broccoli a single ingredient? Yeah. Is cauliflower a single ingredient? Yeah. Is a potato a single ingredient? Yes.
Whole Foods.
Yeah,
Whole Foods.
Is a bag of potato chips a single ingredient? No.
Oh, there's 100 on the back.
But I feel like they go for that because they can't afford the whole foods themselves.
You can go to, but that's the thing. It's
But
like
you can.
You can, but you have to
can.
apply yourself a little bit. It takes a little bit longer. It might not taste as good, but you have to pick your poison. Trader Joe's is
can.
cheap. Trader Joe's is
Absolutely.
cheap.
You can go to Trader Joe's and you can buy your Greek yogurt, vegetables, fruits, lean meats, and there's your diet. Fish, but it's an effort.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it.
It's a choice.
Where most people, they don't want to think about it. Let me just roll into McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell. I'll grab some chicken fingers. That's good, right? Chicken. Is it chicken?
Yeah, fried in
chicken?
grease, pumped
Is it?
up. Yeah, it's
So that I don't really believe that. I think most of it lies in effort and knowledge, and it doesn't take much to realize that you should be eating like a caveman.
I think now more than ever, it should be an easier choice because fast food isn't even cheap anymore.
No.
Like McDonald's isn't even cheap anymore.
A lot of it's $20.
Yeah. It used to be, it'd be like $4, just $5. You get a good amount of food. And it's like, all right, well, yeah, it's not that great, but I don't have that much money right now.
Right.
Now it's $20. You can go to Whole Foods. I mean, I go to Whole Foods every single day and I buy my lunch every day. I get a pound of ground beef, which is about $6. I get a pack of white
grass-fed, 100%.
grass-fed. Yeah, it's 97.3 or something like that. Very lean.
93.7.
93.7. Yeah, backwards. Yeah, 93.7. Yeah. So 93.7. I get a pack of white rice, which is $2.
Just for the viewers and the listeners, 93.7 means 93% lean meat
and then 7%
fat.
Yep.
Right.
Pack of white rice, white jasmine rice, $2. So now we're at 8 with tax, call it $9. I'll get a pack of sweet potatoes, frozen, that are already diced up. Those are $3. So now we're at $12. And, maybe I'll get a coconut water or something like that, which is $2. It's $14.
Right.
And I have a whole meal, 100 grams of protein. I have my carbs. I have everything. I got my electrolytes for $14. $14, like you're not even going to get enough food at McDonald's.
Right.
I'm still going to be hungry, and you're going to feel like crap
And it's
after you
garbage.
eat
And
it.
it's
Yeah.
you're probably not gonna be full for like an hour, 2 hours.
Right.
I can
Because-
turn that into 2 meals from Whole Foods. I don't got to eat a.
because it's sugar, man.
Yeah.
So it's hyperpalatable. It tastes so good that you want to keep on eating it.
And it's not nutrient
So
dense.
you get the glucose. It's the whole feedback loop. It keeps on rolling and
Yeah.
rolling and rolling. Okay, and that's what makes you obese.
Yeah.
You're increasing ghrelin, which is the hormone that increases your appetite, and you're decreasing leptin, which is the hormone that decreases your appetite. You want the opposite,
Right.
right? So you don't continue eating nonstop. That's the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I haven't had Chick-fil-A in so long. You know how many ingredients are in a Chick-fil-A sandwich?
I've never gone.
As the everyday person, how many ingredients do you think should be in a chicken sandwich, a breaded chicken sandwich,
It
right?
should be chicken,
Right.
and
The breading and then
the
the
bread.
actual bun.
Right.
So what? Maybe 3 ingredients. Maybe if there's butter on the bun, 4.
yeah, or oil,
something.
whatever they
Maybe
use.
ketchup
There's
also.
42 ingredients in a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. 42 ingredients.
There's no such thing as good fast food.
No.
No such thing.
No.
People think there is, but there isn't. There's better than something else, but there's no such thing as good.
Like, do you think Chipotle is healthy?
I don't even go to Chipotle anymore.
All the seed oils, right?
Seed oils plus, I'm big now on grass-fed and organic.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a change of heart that I've had. Years ago, I said, it's a scam. It's not a scam. I feel different. I feel different. If I eat a meal that is not truly organic or grass-fed meat, or there's something else in there, I feel it instantly. I feel it in my gut, feel it in my brain.
Yeah.
My wife used to tell me this years ago. Oh, I ate this and I'm feeling, and I used to say, oh, come on, man, let's get over it now.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. Because I used to be a garbage can.
Yeah.
I go to every restaurant, eat anything. And I thought it didn't bother me. No, it bothered me, but I was used to the junk. So that's the way I was supposed to feel.
Yeah, your body is processing it. It's used to that process.
Right.
Yeah.
When I started eating clean, and I mean clean meaning if I had to get dinner and I knew I was going to be late at my house, I would stop off at Chipotle and get it. Now I say no.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait till I get home and I'm going to make my wild caught salmon with my broccoli and my salad and I'm going to eat it. Yeah. That's the difference. I almost never go out to eat unless you have to.
Yeah, it's occasion or
Okay.
something.
You got used to the delayed gratification of it too.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah. I used to, and I, like I said, I used to want it. Oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to go right now. And you thought you were eating something good. So I'm a big proponent now. I never used to be. That's something that's changed. I am.
Wow.
Obviously diet sodas and regular sodas and all that stuff.
It's all garbage.
It's all garbage. It's all out. It's all out. The only thing I'll cheat on is I'll have my energy drink once in a while.
Yeah.
Just it's kind of like a pre-workout thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not just for
Yeah. For the gym. Yeah.
before the gym, not just any old time.
Yeah. Caffeine. Yeah. This was awesome. I got my last question for you. Last question. What generation do you think will have the longer life expectancy, Gen Z or your generation, when it's all said and done?
So I believe Gen Z is definitely more aware of their health. They're more attuned in their body. The only negative I see with Gen Z, which is a negative because they're quick to buy the first supplement or quick fix, unverified pill, the states, will make you live to 110 and you can jump tall buildings in a single bound.
Yeah.
And I think it requires, it's great that they're curious, but it requires being skeptical and really questioning that stuff. And if you do that and you go by studies and professional advice and not jumping at the first thing that you see on the internet and through influencers, not that stuff isn't good. I mean, listen, your omega-3s help your heart, help your brain, decrease inflammation.
Creatine.
Creatine, what doesn't it do?
Right.
Cognitive function now in higher doses, right? And 10 milligrams or more. Obviously, we know about muscle, vitamin D. Okay, these things are great. I take them. I take creatine. I take vitamin D.
Yeah.
I take omegas. Okay, I take a multivitamin. I think there's a lot of supplements that are good. I think, though, that you have to do the research. You have to know where you're buying them from. Are they third-party tested? Is vitamin D really vitamin D? And what's in it? Right? Where you're getting it from? Not the latest guy on YouTube who's saying, you're tired, you're worn out, you're fatigued. I have just the thing.
Yeah.
Here's, the magic potion. When I see something like that has a catch to it, in other words, how are you feeling, Zach?
Yeah.
And Zach says, "Oh, I'm so tired, and I'm this and I'm that." Well, these are symptoms of this deficiency, and this will cure it all.
Yeah.
And another thing is that you're quick to saying, I have low energy and I'm not sleeping well. Maybe I need this pill. No. Why don't we look first at your lifestyle? How are your sleeping habits? How are your eating habits? Right? Phone. Are you depressed? Do you have something going on in your life? These are the things that you should be looking at first before you put anything in your mouth, any supplement. You should be looking at, am I sleeping right? Am I eating right? Am I being overworked? Am I being overstressed? These are the things that should be on the list first. With Gen Zers want the quick fix first.
Yeah. Because it takes work.
So for the Gen Zer who's diligent and who's really got self-control, definitely will outlive. So now it's a question of this combination of Gen Zers and millennials kind of coming together. And as well as myself.
Yeah.
I've changed totally.
Yeah.
From 5 or 10 years ago.
Well,
yeah.
This is awesome. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you
I
so
think
much,
we
Marvin.
learned a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure the viewers will learn a lot as well. I think it was just good. It's good to talk about these things.
Yeah, it's good. I think
And there were so much more questions that I had. So I know that if this
well,
helped.
what do you
them-
got? You got anything?
No, I mean,
Any
we can
mind?
save it for another time for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
No, I think it's good. I think it's nice that guys who are 28 and
26.
26 can talk to a doctor and kind of just talk on the same level and kind of just lay it out in basic terms of what his thoughts are, what he believes in then and now. Inflammation in the brain, inflammation to the body, tiredness, fatigue. These were all great questions.
Yeah.
This was great.
I think it's also good to note that you genuinely care about the health of somebody else too, just by hearing your responses and how much dosage you would give to somebody after they've heard something.
Absolutely.
It's that very refreshing to hear, that you hear people that would that been to doctors and they've given them like we said 30-day supply, 60-day supply. So it's cool to see how you engage in your practice, and also to how much you care about the health of another individual.
Well, thank you. As a doctor, do no harm, right? That's number one.
Yeah.
Do no harm. But it's been good. So obviously we know where we can find you, Zach.
Yes.
Right? The Journey
Yeah, the Journey podcast.
Avi.
And you can find me on Avi, AVIWIZWER on Instagram, and on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, the 1% podcast. THEONE percent is spelled out, PERCENT podcast.
Great. Okay. For now, farewell, stay well, and God bless.